Alright, good evening everyone. This is Town of Sheldon Selectboard and Water Commissioner regular meeting for Monday, March 10th, held here at the town office. Under new business, we have Tom Callan here regarding Hill Street. Need to schedule a meeting with R Smith and Company. Those are the company that does our auditing. Schedule employee review meeting. Go over the town administrator's report. We need to sign and approve the March 3rd meeting minutes. We need to sign and approve the 2025 annual town meeting minutes. Sign warrant 2511. And we have some excess weight permits to sign. Is there anything else that we need to cover that's not on the other agenda?
Yeah, there were a couple of water issues that came up in the last week, I think, having to do with some meters that had to be replaced, and
Okay.
In one case, both of them, basically the water was left on and the meters froze, and in one of those cases there was a property transfer in between. That's why it happened. And then anyway, so the water issue needs to be dealt with, and we probably should have a executive session pre-meeting to discuss the town clerk's compensation. I've been asked her to, on Wednesday, I asked we're gonna meet with Justin Mason on that reappraisal RFP, and I thought that being a daytime meeting, that might be a better time to meet with Jane to discuss her compensation. So,
Yep.
but if you wanted to, we could discuss that here. I didn't know if Nick was going to be here or not, but he can't come to that meeting on Wednesday. So,
Okay. All right. So maybe we'll do that on the other side.
Sure,
here.
yeah.
But anyways. Okay. We'll get started then. Tom, what you got going on?
So, my road down here, the town guys, most likely could change the culvert this year, because it's about all deteriorated on both sides falling in. So while they're doing that, I'd like to see if I get some water, a little more water down our house. Seeing it's only a half-inch,
Just a half-inch line. in there.
just a half-inch line. I turned my water on, the neighbors, they get no water, she runs it, I got no water. So it's just.
So is it the same line that runs out of the?
I'm assuming it must have beat them both. It crosses Ridge Street.
Also, it's on the other side,
It's on
by
the other
Corey's
side.
driveway.
Yeah,
where the
so-
stop is.
yeah, I think that's right.
That's not a bad part right here, it's on the other side. But I figured at least while they're changing that culvert, they can't give me all the way to the shut off this year. At least have the guys put in a new water line from our Y, where me and the trailer are, up to the road while they're digging that all up for the culvert.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that must be underneath the culvert, maybe,
Somewhat.
somewhere's there.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'd like to know is if you can build the end of that road up a little bit where it comes on Ridge Street, drops down on Hill Street. That can be filled up with maybe another 2 feet of stone, gravel,
So
whatever.
when you pull up Bridge Street, you're still tipping down like
Oh yeah,
this?
that.
Is it? Okay.
So it's, and we
How would that affect the house?
I already talked to them, they're fine with it, worst comes to worst. Their driveway will come out straighter now instead of at an angle.
Okay,
So I've already talked to,
so they're kind of.
yeah, they come right up on point on the corner. Because if they would've went out straight, it actually drops down, so it'll put them even. She says she's fine with it.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, I guess we can look at it, see, I mean, I don't think it'd be,
I don't know, 6,
Good deal.
7, stone, whatever, gravel, I don't know. I mean, I figure that's all the easy part, it's just a matter of, it might have to be blacktop again, because that first 20 feet's blacktop, because you can't pull out without just spinning, and it's steep. And the mail people, nobody's ever wanted to deliver mail on that street because they're driving back on a big street.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's it.
okay. That sounds easy enough. How far down's that culvert? How far past that, their driveway there?
But wait,
Quite a ways.
yeah, they're
So
right.
it doesn't need to be built up all the way to the culvert, just,
Probably wouldn't hurt. Because that's where the slope's gonna start right there. It's 150, 200 feet.
okay.
Well, I can certainly ask Seth about this, see what he thinks. And
Right.
He'll come to your next meeting probably,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we can talk
Okay.
about it then.
Yeah, put that on his radar
Yeah.
and, as far as the water line, if you got,
Yeah.
there's 4 hookups now with, you've got the house, the trailer.
I don't think she's on that one.
Oh,
I think it's just us two down there.
okay,
But I'm hoping to put another house down there someday too.
okay.
Now's the time since I got put the culvert in.
Yeah, I'll have to see what there is for, I don't think there's much under that road, right? I mean,
Yeah,
all the
I'm trying to remember.
electricals overhead, there's no, is there natural gas down through there?
No.
There's no gas, there's no sewer lines.
I mean, I
Should
guess
be-
there's storm drain, but that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
right,
I
yeah.
think you could probably just bore under the road. and
Probably, yeah.
Get to that other curb stop and
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
without tearing up,
Yeah.
Birch Street. and That would probably be the smartest thing to
he
do.
tried to shut it off this summer when he hooked my water up, and he goes, I could even do that.
Oh, the curb stop's no good either.
Well, just slid a piece over and then turned it off.
Oh, that's right, yeah, I remember that, yeah. That's the issue with that.
So I guess, and I think Hubert said that was all put in 80s maybe, that line down through.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That sounds about right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, no, that sounds doable.
Be good at least to have a better idea where it is if you're replacing it.
I mean, I know what the shut off is, I just went over there and dug it out.
Right, okay.
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 All right.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
Tom.
Thank you.
Alright, so this Ari Tara Smith,
Yeah.
they wanna meet during the day, probably? or
I
is
think
it-
so. Well, so they're based in Maine, so it would probably be a virtual. They'd probably
Oh.
gotta drive all the way down here, so it'd be a virtual meeting. I guess if it's more, I'm guessing they would I asked them to pick their preferred timeline, and they finally said, "Why don't you guys just pick the date that you guys want?" So, so it doesn't have to necessarily be during the day, but that is when they're at work. So I thought it'd be better to try to do a daytime meeting. But
Yeah.
and I thought, I figured that since they're an auditing firm, they're probably busy, and especially busy until April 15th. So I figured in May would be a good time to
Okay,
schedule that. So if there's a particular time in early May that works for this board, or if you want me to just pick a date, that would be fine.
is
So
there
I
a
don't have
day
a
of the
calendar
week
for
that's
you.
any better for you guys?
I can make a schedule.
Yeah, that's fine. I can be pretty flexible.
Okay,
Okay, I know, well, both Nick and Rick, I know you're more, have to be at work more than you did, have less flexibility than you did before, but, Nick said that he had some, given enough time, he might be able to do something, so I didn't know if, our first regular meeting scheduled for May is May 12th, that on a Monday, so I didn't know if maybe the first week of May we could possibly look at something, or if the day of the week is better for you, Rick, or I
It doesn't
thought
really matter.
I
Yeah, I
thought-
mean, earlier the better for me, but that doesn't mean, I mean, I don't know.
earlier in the day would be better
Yeah.
for you. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's between Rick and Steve and Greg, and what would be convenient for you guys.
I couldn't do it early
Yeah.
in the morning, like
Okay.
that,
All right, so I'll see what.
8:30, 9 o'clock or something.
Okay, we'll see about 8:30 or 9 on maybe the first one. Well, maybe not the Wednesday. either the Tuesday or the Thursday, would that work?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah,
All right, so I'll try to see if we can do that for May 6th or 8th, somewhere in there. Okay.
okay.
Okay. The next thing here is employee review meeting. Nick said that next Friday, that's March 21st, I believe, he could be here. I didn't know if that would work for anyone else. But I hope that would be I mean, we would just bring the highway guys in here and probably it would just be them and me, because we'll have dealt with the town clerk's office by then. So I figured, again, maybe a noontime meeting or maybe
Yeah.
11, I don't know, whichever is. Didn't want it to be too late in the afternoon, but I figured noon on March the 21st, and probably should be 15 minutes with each employee, probably at the most, I would think.
Yeah.
And I'll have them I'll come up with a kind of performance review for them to do a self-assessment, and one for Seth to fill out as their supervisor. And
Yep.
so hopefully it'll be be out of here in about an hour, I think. And then you can, that's in good time for us to, make you don't have to decide on anything in terms of wage adjustments at that meeting. You could wait until the first meeting of April to do that if you wanted, or you could just do it that meeting if you want.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. We would have a select board meeting on the 24th, so that would be. You could make the decision at the next select board meeting in terms of approving anything, and then that wage would take effect in April. Would be the idea, according to our personnel policy. Okay.
What did you say the date was on that?
March 21st is a Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. And the 24th is the next meeting, the next regular meeting.
Yeah.
But we'll have those two special meetings in between, I guess. Oh, on Wednesday, as I said, we'll meet with Justin. I scheduled that for 11:15. You can get here at 11, that's fine. But I figured we'll meet briefly with Justin for about 15 minutes, and then we meet with Jane and probably also with Demetrius, because I think for right now they're planning on. Jane's planning on taking, Demetrius is going to continue on, and I think the plan is to have him take over for Debbie's hours as well, or they have a plan where he'll be more of a regular assistant, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's the game plan they're working on, but I think if they may want to. Depending on how many hours he might want, that might trigger some of our personnel policy in terms of if he works enough, that may trigger some benefits that he's not receiving now. So that will be part of the discussion on Wednesday as well.
Sometimes you say Wednesday.
11:15 is when we get started with Justin.
All right. You got a report for
I have a very brief one. So James obviously took over on last Wednesday. Debbie Debbie's kind of continuing with her normal hours, but she's planning on getting done. I think April 24th is the day that she wants to be her last day. As I said, Jane and Demetrius have kind of talked, and she, at least, as a trial basis until, the plan is for him to decrease his hours to be like the full, not full-time assistant, but more like a traditional assistant like we've had before. And as I said, there's going to be some things for you guys to consider if they move forward with that. Kim's been in. She was in a couple days last week, and she came today to help Jane do the accounts payable. So I think the first day Kim and Debbie were here briefly, and then kind of left Jane alone. I think Jane was a little worried, the first day, but she's feeling, she's gotten more support since then. But we got the Nemrick system. I think they have her set up as a user in that. They had to kind of shut it down and because she's like the master user that approves everybody else, so they had to kind of redo the whole system. So as far as I know, that went all right. We're trying to just make sure that all the, passwords and keychains are passed on. I think those things that transition's going about as smoothly as it can go. I think, and I think that's so. As I said, Jane will be here on Wednesday, and you guys can talk to her about that. Trying to think the rest of the. As I mentioned, there are a couple of water issues to deal with here that came to our attention. The other thing that needs to be done is that the bank, there's some bank paperwork that needs to be kind of re-upped now that we have a different treasurer. The highway, I think I haven't talked to Seth again this week, but last week we had a couple other traffic complaints, kind of along the lines of what Rodney was talking about at the town meeting, just more speeding complaints, things like that, and which I've referred to the sheriff about.
Okay.
They complained last year about speeding on the Heald Road, which I guess it's out in a rural area, but it's also a 35-mile-an-hour road, and I think there are more families living on that road now, so there are people trying to, walk their kids around and do stuff, and we've had some, but similarly, I think they were trying to see if they could either get some more enforcement up there, or if the town would consider putting in a speed bump or something like that, so. Right, yeah, I know. So the boys went out and posted, so they've been putting some frost heap signs up, and I think they were posting the roads the end of last week for all the dirt roads for the mud season, weight limits. We did get a call about right on the end of Russell Road at the Swanton line, there is a culvert there, which I'm not sure why there's a culvert there, but there was basically the frost heaped up, and then the road is sunk about, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches there on top of that culvert. So I think I got a call about it like the end of the day on Thursday. So the boys had already left, so I went out there and looked at it, and I called Seth, and they went out in the morning and put some rock fines on it or something to bring it back up to the grade level. But anyway, just those sorts of issues coming up right now. Just following up with a bunch of people on now that the town meeting is over, we just have to follow up on those, and the budget's been approved, follow up on the projects we're working on between the fire truck and the salt shed and the tax mapping, things like those, trying to get other proposals, or in most of those cases we have one proposal already, but we should have a second one.
Yep.
So working on that, and the other thing that just came to mind and slips out, sorry. Not remember. Anyway, Justin will be here on Wednesday. We'll discuss the RFP. After that, the next 2 weeks after that, he and I and Danielle will be doing some spring inspections ahead of for the grand list for this year. So I think we did most of the new construction in the fall, but we'll go out to any of those houses that may have, been finished since then. And probably gonna actually go visit Tom. I should have told him, but anyway, so that's what we'll be doing the next couple weeks. But I think we're in pretty good shape for the grand list this year. Okay, I think that's it for now.
What about roadside mowing bid? Did you
Oh,
get that done?
No, I did not get that out. That's one thing I should have gotten done last week, but I didn't. So hopefully I'll get that out this week, and we may have to wait till the first meeting in April to consider that instead of the end of this month. So sorry about that.
All right. I guess we could. So on this water meter issue there, so they had to replace the meters themselves?
No, so what happened on 106 Central Street, there was that house has been for sale for the last year and a bit, and the previous owner moved out, I can't remember, 6 or 8 months ago. He moved out in the fall before the winter came, and when they did that, they never called the town to ask us to turn the curb stop off. And so then the meter froze over the winter. Now the house has been sold to the new owner, and they've paid the water bill, but we haven't billed anybody for replacing this water meter that froze. So Hubert replaced the water meter, but we need to send a bill to somebody.
Yeah.
So, and then
That one sounds like it needs to be built, either the new owners or the old ones.
yeah. And then the other house is a similar issue where that's on Shawville Road, that house that right on the end on the 105.
The low one they rebuilt?
Yeah, the one that they rebuilt. I think that's where the
So
issue is.
that froze?
Yeah, I think again they probably should have told us to turn the water off. I assume it happened while they were constructing. I don't know while it was under construction or not, but they.
That house has a open well in the basement.
Okay.
That one on
Right.
Shawville, I was in there, was kind of shocked to see that in there.
Oh, okay.
Open well.
Oh,
Do they,
they are
but
town.
they are on town?
They're on town water as well. Yeah. I remember because when we had the water leak last spring, I had to bring them a notice, or I did bring them a notice too. So.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure if the issue there is just that, I don't know if it's addressed in our policy or not, but basically if somebody does work on something and it's gonna freeze, they need to tell us that they need to inform the town to turn the water off before, or if it freezes, it should be, the meter replacement should be on them, I think.
So is that a new owner on Shawville?
Well, not since last summer.
Okay.
They bought it and then they fixed it up, but it sounds like the meter froze this year probably because they were doing work on it and they should have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think they were supposed to make you send a bill, but, we probably should review
Yeah.
our policies and stuff.
Okay.
All right. So it's more. Let's just budget stuff. Wait, permit.
Actually, no, I apologize, I don't have meeting minutes for the last meeting. I had,
The March 3rd meeting.
yeah, I had them written and something, my computer seems to have mislaid that file, and so I'll have to type those for your next meeting, I'm sorry about that.
Do you have the payroll?
There's no payroll warrant this
Okay.
week, you just approved one last week.
Nobody got paid?
Yeah. Well, you had a meeting last Monday, and that's when the payroll was last
Yeah.
Monday.
Okay. Have you talked to Morgan Dago since?
I've had an email back and forth with him about that. Thank you for reminding me, Steve, that's the other thing to talk about today. So I said, unfortunately, the article didn't pass at town meeting. I said I reach out to our attorney, which I did. I talked to Jim Barlow about that. And then I let Morgan know that that's what happened, and I sort of summarized what feedback I think we received about how people were feeling about the article. So I got a hold of Jim and I let him know what had happened. And I said, well, we'll, depending on what the school wants to do, I think the remaining issue for the town is really just coming up with some alternative way to resolve the question of who's taking, if the voters are not gonna allow the property to be conveyed, we still need to address the issue of who's taking care of what down there. And so that, whether that can be done by an agreement between us and the school district, just a regular agreement that involves no conveyance, or if there may need to be
And then I guess you can cross off and they can sign it in there. So you're just reviewing what was.
reconsider. The other option would be for the school board or someone to ask the voters to reconsider, basically petition for that question to be reconsidered at another town meeting. Or the select board and the school district could negotiate some other conveyance that would be a little more limited or different from what was proposed. So for example, a lease would be another form of a conveyance that would be wouldn't be as binding as a sale or a quitclaim, but it would be, under the law, it's still a conveyance of property and would have to be, at least warned, and people would have an opportunity to petition for a vote on it. So I I discussed with Jim that, it'd probably be best if we could come up with some way of going forward so that we can resolve who's maintaining what down there. And if it would be best to try to do that in a way that would avoid having to necessarily ask the voters to consider it again. But that all depends on what the school board, or the school district is, how they're feeling about it also. So having talked to Jim, Morgan then let me know that he thought he had talked to the school district's lawyer, and they wanted to talk to Jim, lawyer to lawyer about this, and Jim said, well, he said, I'll talk to them, but he thinks it's really something the school district really needs to decide what they want to do down there. I think the school district was not prepared for that answer on the vote, and I think they're kind of thinking that the situation's uncertain, so I think they were planning to go forward with some sort of, breaking ground on some changing down there. And it sounds like they put that off to the side until they get some other reassurance about what's gonna happen with the property down there, so. As I said, I discussed it with Jim, and Jim said, well, this is really kind of, the school district needs to decide what it needs to have happen down there if they wanna move forward with the project. And I said, really, the town's concern is just that we resolve, who's handling maintenance, whose insurance will be covering where, and then if the school wants to go forward with a project that will change the landscape down there, I don't think the town has any real problem with that. We just need to have notice ahead of time, and if there's any way that the town's expected to contribute, then we need to have a process for doing that. But in general, if they want to build a parking lot or put a bus loop in there, I don't think the town's gonna say, no way, Jose, or anything like that, and we'll be fine with that. They just need to let us know what they're going to do.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to resolve that somehow, because you can't have them building a parking lot on our land.
Right, well, that's the thing,
without
right,
some sort of,
yeah,
because they could build it and say, well, it's your land, you maintain it.
right, yeah,
You're gonna need some sort of formal agreement there.
yeah.
And what about, cleaning up the issue of the land the school sitting on?
Mm-hmm. Right,
All that's gotta be cleared up here at some point.
yeah.
What's going on?
So, right, so on a limited bit, so yes, I agree with you, Steve, that you can, the problem is that the voters have, at least for this conveyance that was proposed, they weren't in favor of that. Now, maybe
Right.
a more concerted effort to convince people why that was the better way to do it. Like I said, the article could be reconsidered. Someone has to petition to do that, and if the school district wants to do that, that's something they could try to organize. And maybe it would be better, I think to a certain extent the voters were probably looking to hear more from the school board than they heard at the meeting. So that's one way to do it, or as I said, the select board and the school district could negotiate a different kind of arrangement, but even, like I said, even like a lease agreement would be a conveyance that would be subject to voter approval. So it's a kind of a tricky issue to, it's not that you don't want voter approval, but you want to avoid asking for it, but you want to go prepared. If you have to go to the voters, you want to be prepared to do that, is the answer.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think there's going to be some dialogue between Jim and the school district's attorney about, maybe we'll find out what the school district's interested in doing there. Now, the problem, if the matter is going to be reconsidered, the clock is ticking on that. The petition has to be filed within 30 days after the meeting happens, and then, so that would be April 3rd or 4th, and then the select board, if there is a petition and it's a valid petition, then the select board has 30 to 40 days after that to actually warn a town, or to hold the town meeting, the special town meeting to reconsider would have to be held within 30 or 40 days after that petition is received. So this would have to be done by early May. And as I said, if the matter is going to be reconsidered. Now, I suppose you could just wait till next year and warn it again at the town meeting then, or hold another town meeting on a different question, but, I'm not sure that reconsidering the question is really gonna get us a different answer unless somebody puts an awful lot of effort into, you know, educating people about why the article should be reconsidered.
Right, I know
Yeah.
Greg had a different, or he had discussion, well, I guess during a town meeting, I mean, he was just kind of talking how the town gave the school that land to begin with, so the school could be built on it or something like that, or I forget how, the whole situation, but there was an agreement that was made between the town and the school for that land at one point in time.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it all started with they were looking for a place to put the school, and it was kind of like the mill gave that land to put the fire department on. It was the same thing. Here's some land, to build a school on. But it was given to the town, but that's back when the town and the school were all kind of,
Mhm.
paid your school taxes, but it went to the Sheldon school,
No,
not a
regional,
yeah, district thing, so I think that's where that all started, but, yeah, and then somewhere in the mix, it all got not filed right, or
Yeah.
paperwork, or subdivisions and all that stuff, so, but that's what I'm saying, that stuff needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah, so I mean, that's another thing is that you could, because somebody could draw up a deed that ratifies the subdivision the way that we've been operating, where the school was maintaining, just around the school and the town was taking care of the other things.
would that solve the issue?
It might, but again, because by deed, the town owns the whole thing. So if there was a subdivision created and the town deeded the land right around the school to the school district, that would also be a conveyance to the school district. It would just be more limited in that it would literally be the building and, the immediate grounds around it.
That won't solve the parking issues.
Right,
That's what
right, exactly.
that's what got this all started, because we're trying to help solve the parking
Right.
issues and traffic issues.
Right.
Well, let's see what the attorneys have to say, and hopefully they think it's the best way to go forward, and
Yeah.
Do we know if there's any other towns or schools within the supervisory union in a similar?
To my knowledge, no. In
No.
all the other schools, it's very clear what the school district owns and what the town owns. In some of those cases, the towns do own the ball field if the land the school is on in all those cases, the school district owns it. But there may be recreational fields that the town owns that either like the school district agrees to pay some fee to use those, or they trade services of some sort. There are some deals where they use other facilities the town owns, but in general, in all those other towns, the school land is owned by the school district. And I mean, historically in Sheldon, the other school land, like where Kim and Jack's house is, that used to be a school, and that was owned by the school district. And where the school used to be in the Springs, where the town well is in there, or the old well is there, that was also owned by the school district at one time, and not this town. This is the school. So I don't know why the new school, it should have been transferred. When the school was built, the town probably should have transferred some or all of that land to the school district. It just never happened, or at least if it did happen, it was never recorded here in the town records, and we don't have. That's the big problem, is that I think everybody sort of agree, by convention, everybody thought, oh, that part belongs to the school and that part belongs to the town, but there's nothing in that vault that says that, other than a map, which is not the same thing as a deed. So, and that's the problem, is
As far as taxes are concerned for the property?
it's all exempt because
Right,
it's town
because-
property.
okay.
So yeah, it'd be exempt whether the school district owned it or the town owned it. But
Yeah.
yeah. So Yeah, it's sort of a tricky situation where, obviously the voters have said that they don't wanna approve a conveyance, at least unless it is re-explained to them, but we still have issues down there in terms of who's paying for what, and if there is changes to the property, there needs to be some process for doing that.
Well, I think the
yeah.
big thing is liability, right?
Right,
On the
and
town's
it's-
part, if someone
right.
gets hurt on whatever.
So, yeah, I guess we'll find out what our attorney learns from their attorney and how they're feeling about it. But, I mean, I think it's an issue for the town, but I really think that the school district should be playing a more active part in, you know, in trying to push forward with what they want to have happen, because they're the ones who want to solve the problem, parking. I mean, the town wants to solve the parking issue too, but it's in their more immediate interest to do that, and
Yeah.
they should be, you know,
Well, it's not up to us to solve the problem, but we'd
Yeah.
like to see it happen.
exactly, so.
Like to help them in any way we can. Alright, I'll read Town of Sheldon Annual Meeting, Tuesday, March 4th, 2025, held at Sheldon Elementary School. Meeting was called to order at 10:06 a.m. by Stephen Dodd, Chair of the Sheldon Selectboard. I explained that I was presiding in the absence of moderator Robert Norris until a new moderator was elected. Pledge of Allegiance was led by the youth from Girl Scout Troop and Cub Scout Pack. And we asked the voters to observe a moment of silence for those that have passed away during the year. Kim Dufresne was presented with a gift of flowers upon her retirement after 9 years of service as a town clerk and treasurer. I explained that the meeting would be conducted by Robert's rules and proceeded to read the warning. Article 1, to elect the following town officers as required by law. A moderator for 1 year. Emily Norris nominated Rebecca Jacobs. No other nomination. Nomination carried by a voice vote. Rebecca was elected and took my place as the chair of the meeting, the moderator of the meeting.
That's right.
Nick Norris gave a brief statement on behalf of Robert Norris, thanking the voters for their support during his service as moderator. Article 1B, a town clerk for 3 years. Lindsay Dunleavy nominated Jane Lonza. No other nominations. The nomination was carried by a voice vote. Jane was elected for 3 years. Town treasurer for 3 years. Raymond Bushy nominated Jane Lonza. No other nominations. The nomination carried by voice vote. Jane was elected for 3 years. Select board member for 3 years. Norman Snyder nominated Brian Derry. Raymond Bushy nominated Richard Piasny. There were no other nominations. Both Brian and Rick spoke briefly as candidates. Voted by ballot, 59 votes were cast, 30 necessary for choice. Brian Derry had 15, Richard Piasny had 44. Richard was elected for 3 years. Select board member for 2 years. Emily Norris nominated Maria Davison. No other nominations. Jeremiah King moved that the clerk cast 1 ballot for Maria Davison, seconded by Abby Miller, and motion carried by voice vote. Maria was elected for 2 years. Select board member for 1 year, remaining of a 3-year term. Raymond Bushy nominated Greg Stebbins. Celeste Kane nominated Amy Jenkins. There were no other nominations. Both Greg and Amy spoke briefly to the voters.
Chelsea came, sorry.
Chelsea.
Yeah. That's okay.
Voted by ballot. On the first ballot, the number of votes counted did not match the number of votes marked off the checklist. So second ballot was cast. Second ballot, 62 votes cast, 32 necessary for choice. Amy Jenkins had 30, Greg Stebbins had 32. Greg was elected for 1 year. G, a library trustee for 5 years. Nancy West nominated Maria Davison. No other nominations. Nomination of Maria Davison carried on a voice vote. Maria was elected for 5 years. Library trustee for 1 year, remaining of a 5-year term. Nancy West nominated Brenda Stanley. Lindsay Dunleavy nominated Jessica Draper. Jane Lanza nominated Amy Jenkins. No other nominations. Voted by ballot, 50 votes cast, 26 necessary for choice. Jess Draper had 6, Brenda Stanley had 8, Amy Jenkins had 36. Amy was elected for 1 year. Delinquent tax collector for 1 year. Raymond Bushy nominated Jane Lanza. No other nominations. Nomination carried by voice vote. Jane was elected for 1 year. Article 2. Shall the voters authorize the select board to appoint the town clerk as provided in 17 VSA 2651E. Jeremiah King moved to approve the article, seconded by Abby Miller. Jason Doe asked how the election of the town clerk at this meeting would be affected by approving the article. Matthew Stebbins explained that if the article were adopted, the town clerk would continue in office for 45 days. Thereafter, the office would be appointed by the select board. Jerry Brulette moved to combine Articles 2, 3, and 4 into one question to be voted up or down. Seconded by Raymond Bushy. Motion to combine Articles 2, 3, and 4 into one question carried by voice vote. Matt Bouchard asked Matthew Stebbins to explain why it might be better to appoint the clerk. Matt explained that currently only a Sheldon resident and voter can serve as town clerk. If voters authorize the select board to appoint the clerk, the select board could post the position higher based on professional qualifications rather than residency.
Oh, I could ignore the next 2 words there. That was
Okay.
a typo. Yeah.
Brian Derry said Sheldon should try to avoid problems that other towns have had moving to appointed offices. Rodney Whiting said we should retain the power of the people. Brian Derry asked to vote by paper ballot. This was supported by more than 6 of the voters present. Voted by paper ballot, 62 votes cast, 30 necessary for choice, 1 ballot spoiled, 14 votes yes, 47 votes no. Articles 2, 3, and 4 were rejected. Article 5, to act upon the reports of town officers. Raymond Bushy moved to accept the reports, seconded by Adam Reagan. Brian Derry asked on what day the minutes were signed. The March 11th minutes. And Jeff Patel moved the previous question, seconded by Jeremiah King. This motion was passed on voice vote. The moderator called a vote on the main motion to accept the reports of the town officers, which carried on a voice vote. Article 6. Shall the voters authorize the town treasurer to collect current taxes pursuant to 32 VSA 4791? Raymond Bushy moved the question, seconded by Jeremiah King. No discussion. Article passed by voice vote. Article 7. Shall the voters authorize total expenditures for general and highway fund operating expenses of $1,801,627, of which $1,458,631 shall be raised by taxes. Raymond Bushy moved the article, seconded by Abby Miller. John Gorton spoke on behalf of the food shelf. No further discussion. Article passed by voice vote. Article 8. Shall the voters authorize expense not to exceed $89,000 from the remaining federal funds to be used for the initial payment on a lease agreement for a new fire engine. Raymond Bushy moved the article be adopted, seconded by Matt McRae. Abby Miller asked if the federal funds referred to the ARPA money and where the balance of those funds was listed in the book. Matthew Stebbins explained those funds were listed under other funds because they were not limited by the provisions of the American Rescue Plan Act. Abby asked the full cost of the fire truck. The truck will cost $585,000. Brian Derry asked whether This was on the budget, approved by voice vote. Article 9, shall the voters authorize the construction of a new salt storage facility on the town garage property at a total expense not to exceed $100,000 to be financed over a period not to exceed 5 years. Raymond Bushy moved to adopt the article, seconded by Abby Miller. Excuse me. Brian Derry asked the dimensions and whether it would be engineered. Brian asked if the engineering has been done. Greg pointed out we would build for less than 100,000. Wayne
Oh, it should be Wayne Russell, sorry.
Wayne Russell asked whether it would be made of concrete or asphalt. Jeff Cattell asked if we should cover the sand pile. And the article passed on a voice vote. Article 10, shall the voters authorize the select board to convey 11.4 acre parcel on which Sheldon Elementary School is located to the Northern Mountain Valley Union United School District as described in the memorandum of understanding between the town and school district. Raymond Bushy moved the article to be adopted, seconded by Abby Miller. Discussion included questions about the community forest, preserving access for library events, and the future of the school district. Tom Oliver discussed the progress of education legislation in Montpelier. Chelsea Kane called the question, seconded by Wayne Russell, and the motion carried by voice vote. Moderator then called for a vote on the main motion, and the article was rejected by voice vote. Article 11, to discuss other non-binding business. Brian Derry asked about streetlights on Sheldon Heights. I explained that the select board decided against it, not wanting to set a precedent for every intersection. Rodney Whiting asked about speeding on Sheldon Creek and asked about speed bumps. Nick Norris explained the policing contract negotiations. Nick Norris asked for voters' thoughts about moving the meeting to the evening. Emily Norris moved to adjourn the meeting, seconded by Wayne Russell, and was carried on a voice vote. Meeting adjourned at 1:25 p.m. Take a motion to accept these minutes as read.
I'll make the motion.
A second on that.
Sure, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Make sure you date it.
Yeah, I don't have, I gotta reprint that to put a signature line for you, sorry about that.
So we can do that. We can just sign it at the next meeting.
Yeah, I can print those and have them for you on Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right,
And date, and that'll be the date we send.
that's right.
Right. Sure we get that
Or we
one.
mess it out.
Okay.
All right. So do we want to get into this other agenda now, or?
I think if you've taken care of your warrants and fleet permits, I think you've gone through everything else on this agenda, so.
Your homework.
Counts.
Do something while you're sitting there. So you gotta do something while you're sitting there. All right, let me jump right into this one then. So, Town Sheldon Select Board and Water Commissioner Annual Organizational Meeting. Actually, we need to adjourn that other one to start this one, or is it all?
I'm not sure
I
if, I'm not sure if you need to adjourn the other meeting or.
Or is this all the same? It's a regular meeting and an organizational meeting, probably should.
Right.
I'll take motion to adjourn regular meeting.
I'll make the motion during the regular meeting.
All right, and second on that.
Second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so the regular meeting for the Select Board and Water Commission has been adjourned for the evening. Now we'll jump into this other one. We have the Town Sheldon Select Board and Water Commissioner Annual Organizational Meeting held here at the town office, March 10th. Under new business, we have the organization of the board. Need a chair, vice chair, and clerk. We need to designate a day, time, and place for our regular meetings. Need to designate locations for posting notices and newspaper of record. Need to authorize members to review and approve orders. Need a plan for compliance with Act 133 and Act 171.
What is that?
So the Act 133 is the the changes to open meeting law, and Act 171 is the municipal ethics. So that essentially refers to the training that you are now required to take. So we just need a plan for everybody to take that training.
Okay.
Okay.
I also need to make appointments to the planning commission, development review board, tree warden and optional officers, Northwest Regional Planning Commission, NRPC, Transportation Advisory Committee, Northwest Rail Trail Council, Northwest Solid Waste Management District, and Northwest Communications Union District. Alright, we'll get right into the organization of the board. Looking for a chair, I guess.
I'll nominate Steve Don for chair.
I'll second.
Alright, any other nominations? Nick's not here.
Yeah, you're in the chairs.
Alright, all in favor of that?
Yeah.
Alright, now we need a vice chair. Take a nomination for that. I'll nominate Rick. Sheldon.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Alright. Any other nominations? Alright. All in favor of Rick?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Opposed?
Okay.
Now we need a clerk. Nomination for that.
I thought,
Well, you don't,
Do we need?
I don't know that you absolutely need to, it's an option you have. So I wrote it just because it's an option you have, but I guess I am serving as your clerk, even though I'm not a member of the board.
What is the role exactly of the?
well, it used to be one of us was a scribe there.
Okay, so
Well,
that
we kept our own meetings in the
Okay.
past, and we always had a clerk. And but I don't know that it's necessary now if we're gonna have a.
Is that someone who takes minutes essentially?
Yeah, right now I take your, or since I've been hired, I take the minutes.
Yeah, and then the clerk used, before that, well, when Kim came on as town clerk here, she came to the meetings and did the minutes too. So it's been a number of years since, the board hasn't kept its own meeting. It's been a number of years since, but one of us used to always keep the minutes. And basically, well, when it was a three-member board, one of the board members always kept the minutes.
Yeah, I did it for quite a few years.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody could read my writing. And I didn't take very good minutes.
Well, we did the best
Yeah.
we could. And,
Well, that's what's nice about having it on camera now too, so everybody can
that's
look
right. The
back.
minutes are kept right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's audio, there's video.
yep.
Right.
So,
So,
alright, let's just table that clerk position. If
Yeah.
it comes up that we need somebody to take minutes for some reason, when Matt's not here, we can appoint somebody that night to do it.
that's right.
That'll work.
Okay.
Okay. Designate a time, day, and place for our regular meetings. Mondays still work for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, you're meeting on the second and fourth Mondays.
Second and fourth Monday of the month.
Yeah, and I'll just, I think it's only gonna happen twice this year that I think Memorial Day and Columbus Day are both scheduled to happen on your regular meeting days, so on those days, we would just move it to Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that sounds good. Okay, if we're all good with that, that's what we'll do.
And the time is good.
The time's good for everybody.
7:30 is your time that you've been meeting right
Yeah,
now.
works for me.
Okay. Designate locations for posting notices.
Actually, Steve, if you wouldn't mind, I think it would be better to have a motion on that.
On the date.
On the, designation of
Okay.
date, sorry.
No problem. All right, do I have a motion to accept the Monday, 7:30, second and fourth Mondays of the month for our regular meetings?
Yeah, I'll move it.
All right, second on that?
Yep.
All right, all in favor?
Yep.
Yes.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Designate locations for posting notices in newspaper of record.
So right now, we're posting them, well, we always post them here in the town office. Right now, we're posting them at the post office in Sheldon Springs and either at the or the Stewart's now or at the Mini Mart.
And the website?
And the website, correct, yeah.
So that, I mean, all you need is
Yeah.
2, right?
I think you're required, you need two, you need to do it at the town office and then you need 2 physical places in town
Okay.
besides the town office and the website. So
Okay.
it's, yeah.
Yep.
Right, except for ordinances, we need to put them in 5 places or something like that, so. And
Yeah.
the last ordinance, I think I just put it at those, both stores, and then I put one at the Abbey, because it's the only other place I could think of that might have public.
Would posting things at the school be a location?
Certainly, if you want to put it there, we could put them at the school. The school used to have a community events bulletin board, and I don't know.
Yeah, the
since they
PTO has a
re-
bulletin board that I've been managing, so certainly anything that needs to be posted in extra locations can be put there.
Yeah, so it's up to you guys where you want to put them. That's just what we've been doing this last year. That I
Depends if the, well, the
Yeah.
school,
I mean, it
school's
doesn't,
open.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, it doesn't hurt to,
No, it doesn't hurt to put them,
everywhere, anywhere,
and
anywhere.
then they have like basketball games,
That's
baseball,
right. Yeah, that's
things like
right.
baseball.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
All right.
yeah, second on that.
One second.
Use those locations there as
All
needed.
in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Authorized members.
Authorize members to review and approve orders. What do we have to do for that?
So, by default, when you have your orders, your warrants that you approve, you need to do that as a body. So you usually do those in a select board meeting. I think you guys did this during COVID, that the board can designate a member or number of members to do that outside of a meeting as well, which comes in handy on occasion when we have, if a meeting has to be postponed and there's
Order to be.
orders that need to be signed. So I don't know how you want to handle this. I think during COVID, you authorize Steve to just sign it for the board, but you can also designate that has to be done by 2 members or by, you can basically authorize however you want for orders to be signed outside of select board meetings. So you could either designate 1 member to do that or as long as everybody signs it, or if you can designate that 3 members sign it, however you want to do that. I believe that as long as you adopt a resolution once a year.
Well, can you adopt it that a quorum has to sign it, so that you need at least 3 members to sign before it's official?
You can, yeah. It's just a question of whether
But do you
they
have
need
to
to.
designate 3 people?
Right.
Or
I
you
don't-
can just say 3 board members?
I think you could just say 3 board members, is my understanding, because if all 3 board members meet, then you have a meeting, and so then
Yeah,
you
but
don't.
if they
right.
come, 3 people
Right.
come down here.
That's right, yeah.
It's,
That wouldn't be a quorum, because
That
they're not
would
all
be
meeting at the same time.
right, but it would make it, under more scrutinous or whatever
Yeah.
you wanna say than just
So this is-
me coming down and signing it.
Yeah. I believe that you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to make that motion and that we set it up so it, and for, excuse me, an approved order needs 3 select board signatures.
Yeah. Outside of the regular meeting.
Outside, yeah, approved order outside of a regular meeting needs 3
Yeah.
select board
I'll second that.
signatures. All right, I have Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright, so we need to plan for compliance with Act 133 and Act 171.
So are these
All right.
Zoom trainings or
Basically, yeah,
whatever?
or essentially, that's right, Rick. So there's a training that select board members are required to take for open meeting law and for the municipal code of ethics. I think on the municipal code of ethics, I definitely know the Secretary of State has basically prepared a half-hour video that you can, I think it's something like that you can watch, and I could send that to you guys, your emails to watch, but you could also just make an arrangement to all meet to watch that, or if you came early to a meeting, you could just watch it all together and then you'd all be covered, that's sort of what I was getting at here, is if you wanted to just propose that we come to a select board meeting early, one select board meeting early. You don't necessarily have to warn that as a meeting, because you're just gonna watch the training, you're not gonna discuss town business. So that
When
that was.
does that have to be done by?
I think I can't remember about the open meeting law, but the code of ethics training has to be done by September 30th, I think. So you've got plenty of time to do it. So it's not a hurry up thing, but I just thought I'd put it on here.
Yeah, but I think let's try to plan that for a little later down the road.
Okay.
Once we get some of all this other stuff caught up here,
Okay.
quieted down.
Okay.
Alright, so that's what we'll do. These appointments, do we have a list of
Okay.
people that are getting done?
So I reached out to all your current planning commission members, and with the exception of one, or with two, you have 4 people who are on both the planning commission and the development review board right now, and then there's 2 people that are only on the development review board. One of those people doesn't have to be reappointed right now, but all the members who are on the planning commission need to be reappointed. Right now, your planning commission is Nancy West, Susan Brooks, Jeffrey Kane, and Hillary Weed. And then there is a vacant seat on that board. Then those same 4 members are on your DRB, as well as Pete West and Pierre Parent. And there is 1 seat open on the DRB as well. So I reached out to all those people. They are all essentially fine with continuing on the board. Part of the problem is that right now we've got this situation where 4 or 5 people are coming up for reappointment in 1 year, and really should be more like 2 or 3. So I thought I would recommend that we appoint those people to different length terms. So Nancy, I thought maybe 3 years for Nancy, 3 years for Sue, 2 years for Jeffrey, and 1 year for Hillary, to each of those boards. And then Pete West, we could also give another 2 years, I think. So then I think that would mean that you would have, next year you would have to reappoint only 2 people to those boards, and then the year after that, we would only have 2 people or maybe only 1 to appoint, and then the year after that, you'd have 2 appoints, and then we wouldn't have all this turnover.
Is there, heard any interest in those vacant seats?
I haven't heard of anybody yet who are interested in the vacancies, and I kind of asked them, the current members, if they could think of anybody, but I don't know how much time they had to think about that. But I don't have any particular ideas, but at least if we can get the people, if we can reappoint the people that are on the board now, those vacant seats, if we can find somebody who wants to try it for a year, We
Make it
could,
1 year.
we could make it a 1-year deal and then,
Yep.
appoint them again next March, or if they decide to stay on. So,
Okay, so that'll cover planning commission, development review board.
yeah,
Okay,
all right.
so do I have a motion to appoint those people to that Matt listed off to, with the terms listed on the planning commission?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Development review board, okay, we got a motion, second on that,
Yep.
alright, all in favor?
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Oh,
And we need one or two more,
On each board, there is one vacancy right
so,
now.
okay.
Yeah,
yeah, one for
So-
each board, so
yeah. So you can have,
come across somebody.
I mean, technically, you can have, I think you can have, I think there are technically alternate positions for those boards as well, but the regular positions,
If you can fill the regular ones, you can have all, you know.
right, exactly. So,
Right.
so for right now, let's just- if we can get one more person interested in either of those boards, that would be good.
Yeah,
All right.
okay, tree warden,
All right, so right now, you, the select board, are collectively serving as the tree warden. I think you have.
Rick was a tree warden.
He's the forest fire warden, but
I think they're related.
yeah, they're
He's-
all related.
What is it?
so,
I nominate Rick tree warden.
I have enough of hats, I think.
Sure.
What is the tree warden?
so I had this printed out for you last year. I believe that if there are trees that are in town highway right of ways,
Oh,
the tree warden is supposed to be in charge of managing those. So in some.
Bring a chainsaw?
Yeah,
mean,
I think, well, I think this is really a position that comes into, is more important in places that have more like villages or, they're more developed than Sheldon is necessarily. But if
What's some
there's,
of those trees on Main Street in Enosburg?
right, yeah,
People would
exactly.
get upset if you started cutting those
well,
down.
they do,
Right.
they do outside the villages now.
Right,
Literally.
So right now, basically,
Yeah.
the town's basically done that as a board.
correct, yeah.
So I'll move that we continue to do what we have in the past.
Alright,
So that's making recommendations on whether it stays or
Well,
goes or trimmed or whatever? Okay.
We remove trees there on the School Street.
Yep.
alright, so I have a motion that the tree warden and optional officers will be the select board.
Yeah.
Get a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
So the optional officers are Greg's favorites. You have the option to appoint 3 fence viewers, a layer of coal, what is it, shingle,
Yeah.
measurer of shingles and lumber, all those great old offices, but I figure you'll pass on that for
Get
regular.
all.
One thing I have never figured out, we used to elect a constable in Sheldon up until like 96, 95 or 96. But I don't know that the town ever voted to do away with that office. We just stopped doing it. So I'm not sure if maybe there was a special meeting that I've never found the minutes for or something like that. But anyway, there are, technically speaking, if that office hasn't been eliminated, we either should be electing it or appointing it. But nobody's really
Or
making a stink.
eliminate it.
Or eliminate it, right, yeah. But
I don't
anyway,
think we need a constable.
it's not worried, I'm not worried about it. I just,
Okay,
yeah. It's fine.
Northwest Regional Planning Commission, who's on that board now?
Nobody right now.
Oh, really?
I don't think we had, I wasn't aware of this last year, but I don't believe we have anyone on the planning commission now. Seth Hungerford has been serving on the transportation. And we don't have anybody currently on the rail trail council either. Those are kind of, Northwest
Yeah,
Regional
everybody-
Planning kind of oversees those 2 boards as
Do we
well.
have anybody on solid waste?
No, David
No,
was
because
doing
David
that.
took
and then-
Took over for me on there.
Right, and I don't know, once he resigned, I assume he just stopped going, I don't know, so, and we never reappointed for that,
Alright,
so.
do you have any names to throw in there?
I don't, I mean, I wouldn't, I would be fine with doing the regional planning commission just because it probably, it's good to be in with those people, but, and that's a meeting I could probably make, cause it's, think
They
it's
meet once a month,
once a
or-
month on a Wednesday, I think, and on my
Alright.
schedule, I could probably do that, but
I'll nominate, I'll move Matthew.
Alright, we have a nomination, do we have a second for that?
No second.
Alright, all in favor?
Yep.
Yep.
Opposed? Alright, you got a job, man.
alright.
Transportation Advisory Committee, there's nobody on that, now it's us
Oh,
done.
yeah, and Seth was our representative on that, and I don't have anybody.
What's involved with that again?
So, I think, yeah,
Meet with the state.
yeah,
This is, you know, the area, all the towns go to that and talk roads, and transportation issues.
yeah.
What's that schedule? Once a
Oh,
month, or
I
is it
found that on, hold on, let me,
four times a year, or what is it?
hold on, it's on their website, just a second.
Should put,
It is,
Jack used to do that.
Yeah,
It's in Seth could tell. You got nothing to do.
they meet the second Thursday of the month at 6:30.
And that's at,
I believe they meet in St. Albans, but it might be a virtual meeting. Knowing NRPC, you can probably attend, it's probably a hybrid meeting.
down at their new facility, no?
I think that's where they meet. I have to look at the minutes here.
Or do they meet in Swanton?
Their last meeting, they met at in St. Albans on Fairfield Street. At their offices, I think. But it is a hybrid meeting, so you could attend, if you have Zoom, you can attend also. So,
What time is that meeting?
6:30 on Thursdays. Or, sorry, the second.
Once a month.
Once a month, second Thursday of the month. So it would be the same week as your first select board meeting would be that Thursday.
Want to get some straws out?
Yeah, Thursdays would be a hard day. We've got PTO and the library board
Right.
on Thursdays.
I'll go out and do that.
okay.
I'll do that.
A nomination for Greg to do that.
Sure.
Make a nomination.
Alright, second that, I'll second it.
Alright.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Thursdays at 6:30.
Yeah.
Second to?
Second Thursday of the month at 6:30.
Okay.
See, we can remind you on Monday nights,
Oh.
Matt.
Yeah.
So you remember it.
I got straight on this finger.
Alright,
Trail.
retro council.
That I had an idea for. Jeremiah King was very interested in that when the town voted on it, and I've been meaning to talk to him and see if he might be interested in doing that. 'Cause
Okay.
I remember when there was a vote a few years ago to support the state doing the Lamoille Valley Trail, and I think he spoke out in favor of that.
I'll
So
reach out to him.
I thought I would ask him about that. I
Okay.
just haven't been able. I meant to talk to him at town meeting. I totally forgot
If we
about it.
get that, if you'd like that, we can do that at another meeting. then.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Solid waste,
I don't have anything for you on that one.
They meet in Jordan.
That's correct.
They were meeting at City Hall when I used to go.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
they'd meet at City Hall.
That's, oh, that was a fun time. I used to go there. What his name is on that? Correct.
So if they meet in City Hall, but again, it's a Zoom meeting, so that you can attend virtually as well.
When is that meeting?
So let me see here. The last time they met was February 11th. The first Wednesday of the month is when they meet.
They're doing big things here. Aren't they building right now?
Yeah, they've been rebuilding or adding on to the facility in Georgia.
Yeah, they're working on budget stuff for that building project when I was on there.
Yeah. And then the landfill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's still, you know anything, did they ever discuss any of that?
A little bit, but they still owned it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we had some discussion with the town of Highgate because they were trying to fix that Macy Road where it's washed out. They wanted to be able to access it from down there, those fields. But they didn't want to use the road that, who's the guy that owns that land down there that Ronnie rents from? It's the guy that owned Boscat.
Oh, right, yeah,
He owned that land, but they didn't want to use his road. They wanted to use the road because it's a better road, I guess, down there. That some of that went through the land that solid waste owned.
There you go.
But that was the only time they discussed that property.
Well, Northwest, solid waste, put a lot of money into that.
Yeah.
And it just sits there. And there, I don't know if that's ever gonna come to pass. Anyway, that's on,
First Wednesday of the month at, looks like, hold
that's at 6:30.
on. 5 o'clock was the last time they met at 5 o'clock on February 11th. I'm not sure if that's the regular time here.
It should be 5 o'clock.
Not an easy time.
Northwest Communications.
Alright, well, let's table that one. for-
Yep.
Yep, we'll have no discussion on that.
Yeah,
Yep.
Northwest Communications Union District.
That's what I've been doing, yeah.
Oh, you've been
Yeah,
doing it?
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
Northwest Fiberworks is the
Right.
more regular name.
Is that, you want to continue?
Yeah, I don't mind doing that because right now they meet, the full board only meets quarterly and they put me on the executive committee for that, but they meet on Wednesdays during the day, so I just take it at my desk, and so,
Alright,
that's working out well, so
Okay,
we'll appoint Matt for that board then.
very good then.
Alright, so the only other thing, we gotta go into executive session here. Alright,
yeah, that's the only other thing.
okay. Alright, Eric, we've got a motion to go into executive session to discuss the new employees of the town, and then we're gonna adjourn for the evening after that.
Alright. Oh, so who made the motion?
I make that motion.
Yeah.
I'll get a second on that.
Second.
Alright, all in favor?
Uh,
Opposed?